Hello! Hi! I am here today to talk to you guys about Reputation, aka the Stadium Tour, aka Rep Chicago Night 2. For future reference, I'm actually seeing the Reputation Stadium Tour 3 times this summer. I don't see myself going any more than that because already that is a little bit excessive. But the nights that I'm seeing are Chicago Night 2, which already happened, Louisville, which is at the end of June, and also Nashville, which is at the end of August. So we're just going to talk about the Reputation Stadium Tour. So if you don't want to be spoiled or you just are not into Taylor Swift, now would be a great time to click out of the video. If you're sticking around with me, let me know in the comments if you want to see this kind of video for all of the tour stops that I go to, or if you just want to see vlogs for those, or if you don't want to see anything from those. Where to start? I saw the Reputation Stadium Tour on June 2nd at Soldier Field. This was the second night that Taylor was in Chicago, and it was quite a whirlwind, let me tell you. If you didn't know, that whole week leading up to the second, I was actually in New York City. I stayed with my friend for half the week, and the other half of the week was Book Expo. I didn't get to go to BookCon this year because I got a ticket to see Taylor Swift, and frankly, I had much more fun at Taylor Swift than I did at BookCon. So, no regrets there. However, in order to get from point A to point B, I had to fly from New York to Chicago, and it was a lot. I will spare you the details because it was basically just like 12 hours of me just like having minor anxiety panic attack type things. But I made it. I had a connecting flight in, I don't even know where, Detroit. I made it. It was okay. I got a rental car. I ended up doing fine, but the travel anxiety was really high that day. So that's basically what the beginning of the vlog would be me just panicking. I ended up going with my really good internet friend Haley. Her Instagram is These Book Lions. She has so many accounts. I'll link some of them in the description below. She's also going to see her in Nashville with me, and I could not be more excited. Haley is a great concert buddy. We both were way too excited about everything. So I have been to Soldier Field 3 times for 3 separate Taylor tours, the first of which was Red. I also got to see 1989 there, and then I saw Reputation there. And each of those times, this was like the first Taylor show that I saw. Red was the first Taylor show ever. 1989 I ended up seeing twice, but Soldier Field was first. And obviously this time I'm going 3 times, and Soldier Field was still first. So Soldier Field, like, it holds a special place in my heart because that's always where I see Taylor first. It was a lot this time. It had been about 3 years since I last saw her. I saw her in Nashville last for 1989. And so getting to see her back in Chicago was like, it was so sentimental for me. And what the night turned into made it even more sentimental. It will be a night that I will never ever forget, and I absolutely loved it, obviously. If you've been keeping up with Reputation at all, there was actually a lot of live streams happening at the beginning of the tour. The first night specifically, a lot of people just stayed up and watched the whole thing on the internet. And that's what I did. So going into it, there weren't a lot of surprises. I kind of knew what was going to happen, and I'd seen the set list, and like I had experienced it online. And so it wasn't like I was going into it being like, what is going to happen? Because I knew kind of what was going to happen. But there were still a lot of surprises, and I was really excited about that. So I don't really know where to start or what to talk about. I don't really have like a list of things that I want to talk about. There's a couple highlights that I have from the night. I can talk about my favorite things about it, my least favorite things. Let's just start with the playlist, because if you've been to a Taylor Swift show, you'll know that before her show even starts, she has like a running playlist that is consistent every tour stop, and specifically the songs that lead up to her coming on stage, they're consistent and you know what they are, so that when they come on, you're like, Taylor's next, she's coming. And I don't think a lot of people know that who like haven't been to her shows, so I'm letting you know if you're going to see her that once you hear Obsessed by Mariah Carey and Bad Reputation by Joan Jett, you should like get hyped because those are the songs. When I figured out that Obsessed was on the playlist, I like freaked out because I absolutely love that song. It's from like 2009. It's so cheesy, but it's a great jam. And also it's like super petty, and like it totally just matches the Reputation era. And so I'm just like really happy that Taylor put that on the playlist. And obviously Bad Reputation, like we had all been saying like, this is the song that needs to come on before Taylor goes on stage. And she listened to us and she put it on there, and it was seriously like such a big jam session. Like there's so much dancing at the Rep Tour. I can't. I will say, talking about the openers a little bit, based on the previous openers that I've seen for her, I still think 1989 No, I don't know. The opener she has, I usually like one out of all of them, and that's consistent with this tour. So she had Charlie XCX and Camila Cabello, and I really don't like Camila Cabello. I don't dislike her. I don't get the hype around her. Like, she's talented, sure, but I really don't like the production on her stuff, and I think it's a little bit bland. And so her live, like, she was fine. Havana was great, and she's a good dancer, and love her, whatever. But I was much more interested in Charlie XCX. I think Charlie has better songs, and it's just easier to dance to, and it was so much fun. I got to hear Boom Clap live, which I've been dying to hear since like 2014, so that was incredible. Wasn't a huge fan of Fancy, but we know this. Loved her set. I still wish she would have played After the After Party, because that's like one of my all-time favorite Charlie songs, but both of the openers were great. So then, I guess I could talk about the set list. I don't really remember it off the top of my head. The thing that struck me about this tour that's different from her previous tours is that it is very much not cohesive. It is one of the most all over the place concerts I have ever seen, and for that reason, I wasn't a huge fan of it. Like, don't take this the wrong way. I absolutely love the tour, and I love everything Taylor does, and like, huge fan. However, personally, I think I like this set list for 1989 a little bit better, just because it makes more sense. Like, Reputation, the cool thing about this show is that it really does draw on like all of her work, and she doesn't do a lot to change it. Like, Shake It Off sounds like Shake It Off, and Bad Blood sounds like Bad Blood. And like, occasionally you'll get tossed in like some really old songs like Should Have Said No, or You Belong With Me, or whatever. But most of the songs that she plays, they're not like remixed at all, which was one of the things I really loved about the 1989 World Tour, is that you did get some old songs, but she redid them in a way that it was really unique and fresh. Literally all over the place. Like, she does Blank Space and then she does Dress, and it's like, that's great, but also it makes no sense. Why did you do it like that? I don't know. So that was like one of the only complaints I guess I have about the tour, is that I wish it were a little bit more sonically cohesive and like made more sense. But that's also what made it fun, is that every song was an adventure, and it was something new to dance to, and it was really all over the place, and it was great. Let's talk about some of my favorites. I think my favorites from the set list. Obviously, I Did Something Bad. I think that arguably might be the best song on the tour. The way she does it this tour is incredible. The surprise songs and Dancing with Our Hands Tied, like, I wish we had a pop version of Dancing with Our Hands Tied on tour, because I think the dancing to that would have been great, but to hear it acoustic is such a blessing, and so I'm like super happy that we have it at all. The surprise song she did for Chicago Night 2 was 22, and I will talk about that in a minute because I have feelings. Obviously, I think the second favorite of this tour is Long Live / New Year's Day on the piano. Oh my goodness. Again, I have feelings about that I'll come back to, but that is definitely one of my favorites. I really like Getaway Car. Was really incredible live, and part of that was because it rained at our show, but I loved hearing that live. This Is Why We Can't Have Nice Things. Ready For It as the opener was also really incredible. Don't Blame Me, definitely in the top 5. That was an incredible performance. I loved Call It What You Want. Like, really, all of the songs, they're all great. I love them. There weren't any that I was, oh my gosh, Bad Blood, Should Have Said No. Should Have Said No live in a pop rock remix was everything that I wanted and so much more. I think my favorite thing about this show is that it was so unforgettable, and the way that she, like, the stuff that she performed and the way it all played out, it really was like tailored to me and Haley. Like, I felt like she had planned it all for us, and it was really incredible. And like, I know that's not how it works, but it felt like that in the moment. For instance, first things first, let's talk about 22. The surprise song was 22, and I will say I'm a little bit bitter because every single surprise song that I've heard from Taylor is a song that I've heard her perform before, except for like Fearless. And even Fearless was like, honey, can you do something new, something fresh? So like 22, like, I've heard it before. The last time I had heard it live was actually at Soldier Field 5 years ago, so it was a little bit trippy. But it was, I would much rather have that than our song, so I was like, okay, I can take that. But I was so emotional when she was playing 22 because obviously I just turned 23 and I'm not 22 anymore, but 22 was literally like one of the best / worst years of my life, and like, part of that is Taylor, and she made it into a year that is like so memorable. But like, the fact that she played 22 right after, like a month after I turned 23, I just felt like personally victimized. I was like, you're coming for me. Like, I love being 22. Why would you do this to me? Right before that, when she did Delicate, so she does a speech before Delicate every night, and usually it's kind of about like relationships or like her experience with fans or like life being delicate, whatever. And For some reason, she chose the second Chicago show to be like the Pride speech, and it just was like as it was happening, and I still remember the moment. Like she started talking, and I was like, oh my god, we're getting the Pride speech. Like this is happening. She is speaking up. She is talking about being like queer in America. Like this is crazy. I like the whole time I was just like squeezing Haley's shoulder, being like, she did this for you. Oh my god. But in the Pride speech, basically, she was just talking about how like she thinks it's so important that people be vulnerable and honest, and like for the people who have come out, the people who haven't come out, like she's just super proud of everybody, and like it was on it, like it was the most straightforward she has ever been about her stance on being gay or being queer, and it was great. Like I was so happy that she finally decided to like be so honest about it and like share her emotions and thoughts on that, and to have it at my show was just like amazing. I loved it. It was so good. Additionally, a thing that happened is we had a rain show. And Haley had been talking about this literally like the week leading up to it. She was like, Jenna, it's supposed to rain. It's supposed to rain. What if it rains? What if we get a rain show? And if you don't know, like the history, Taylor has only had a handful of like rain shows. And generally what happens at a normal concert is it gets rained out and it doesn't happen, or it starts raining and everybody leaves and like it's really sad and you're like, oh my god, it rained. And a lot of people are just surprised when you get excited about it raining at a concert in general. I didn't really want a rain show just because like rain is a lot and I wanted to get good pictures. And so I was like, you know, if it could rain later, that would be great. And God compromised, and it literally started raining during Long Live. Like she was giving her opening speech to Long Live about how she loves us and she's seen us grow up and blah blah blah, and she like pauses halfway through and she's like, oh my gosh, you guys, it's raining. And then she's like, there's no crowd that I would rather dance in the rain with. And like crazy. The last time she had a rain show was like 2011, and it was in like Philadelphia. I think it was at Gillette. And so like she doesn't have a lot. There's very few that are rain shows in her history. And so to be one of those iconic shows that was a rain show, like it literally meant so much to me and Haley both. We were just like so emotional about it. And to have it start raining during Long Live was beautiful. Like I just, in that moment, I felt so whole and loved and beautiful, and it was just such an incredible experience, honestly. And to hear Long Live, which I had never heard live before, and I never thought I would hear it live, and I get to hear it 3 times this summer. Excuse me, I'm emotional, it's fine. It started raining during Long Live, and it was like, it got super heavy during Getaway Car, and This Is Why We Can't Have Nice Things. But other than that, it was kind of like some light drizzling. It wasn't anything terrible, which was like awesome. But I remember during Getaway Car, I didn't take any footage because it was raining, and I was like, I want to like know this moment and enjoy this moment. But Getaway Car was a moment where I just remember like holding my arms out and staring at the sky and feeling the rain come down and singing and just being like, this is so great. Like I felt God in that moment, and I'm so grateful for it. Getaway Car is a great song in general, but to hear it in the rain, like with one of my best friends, just like, it was so good. You have no idea. It was also really great. I remember during Call It What You Want, the part where both times where I'm doing better than I ever was, and then not because he owns me, but because he really knows me, like those 2 parts, like I remember just being like, yes, like it's raining, this is the best, I love this. And there was also a part during This Is Why We Can't Have Nice Things where she has a line that says, why do you have to rain on my parade? And she like looks at the crowd all cute, and we were like, it's raining, it's raining, it's raining. To have the rain show and the Pride speech and 22 was so amazing. Like I can't even explain how happy it made me. It was one of my favorite memories. I will never ever forget that night for sure. It was also really great. I don't know if you know what seats I had. I ended up sitting literally right next to the B stage, up in the lower 100 section. We were like row 3, and Haley bought the tickets originally, and she was like, we're by the B stage, I hope it's good. And we were like, I don't know what the B stage is gonna look like. And as it turned out, I have never been closer to the person I love the most, and it was so emotional. Like I have vlog footage of her like coming onto the stage, and like the whole time I'm just like screaming, and I haven't screamed that loud ever, I don't think. Like it wasn't anything super special. She did Blank Space, she did Dress, and then she went up to do Bad Blood, and like that was that. But like the whole time I was just like, she's so close to me right now. Like I can see her and she's speaking. The whole time it was happening, I was like, you have to remember this feeling. She's right there. Oh my God, I can't breathe. This is so much. What is happening? And like, it was only for 2.5 songs, but it was still like thrilling, honestly. And I'm gonna be close to the B stage for my Louisville show, and I've already like mentally prepared myself, but there's nothing that can compare you. Like, nothing can prepare you for being that close to somebody that you've loved for so long. Like, I genuinely see Taylor Swift as like one of my best friends, even though we've never met and she doesn't know who I am. And like, I've been seeing her for 5 years, and I've been a fan of her for 10 years, and just like the whole experience just like blew my mind because it was so beautiful. And like, it was such a special show too, because I did know I was going to see her 2 more times this summer. And so this show I was like kind of concerned with getting good pictures, but it was more about like, I want to get video footage of me having fun, and I want to like be there and be present. This one was such a great concert experience. I would not change it for the world. Even with literally all of the anxiety and the drama and the stuff that went at the beginning of the day, getting to the stadium, like, it still was one of the best nights of my life, and I wouldn't change it for anything. And I'm so excited to get to do it 2 more times this summer. Like, I feel so incredibly blessed to be able to do that. I loved the snakes. I loved all the confetti. Like, the lighting was incredible. She had this like pyro that went off on stage, and even though I was like really far away from the main stage, it felt like it was so hot and cool and awesome, and I loved her and all the high notes and the vocals she hit. Like, her vocals have progressed so much since she first started touring, but even since 1989, like from the beginning of 1989 to like right now, I feel like she has changed so much. She's such a better dancer. Her vocals are like killer on this tour. Like, I Did Something Bad, I've been listening to like recordings of it because I want to like a real actual like high quality recording just so I can hear the vocals. But like, she hits some high notes and she does some things that like she has never done before, and she's doing them so well, and she's so confident and she's so happy. It was so great getting to see her this time because you could tell she was genuinely just like having fun and like really excited to be there. And like, I still just don't understand why people don't like Taylor Swift, because she's such a light and she's such a genius, and she's just so great. I love her. I could talk about her all day, obviously. As like a stadium tour, I do think there's nobody else I'd rather see in a stadium. Like, even though I'm sure Beyonce is great in a stadium and like I would trust her in a stadium, there's very, very few artists who I think can be in a stadium, who can command a stadium, and who can put together a stadium tour in a way that makes everybody feel seen. I had friends up in the 400 section for night 1, and they texted me after and they were like, I felt so seen and understood, and I was like way up there and I still felt like I was a part of everything, and it was so incredible. And I was like, yeah, like, this is what Taylor does. She brings everybody closer and she makes the stadium feel small, even though there's like 50,000 people there. For Louisville, I am wearing a snake print jumpsuit. I didn't even tell you guys what I wore to this one. For this one, I was the Ready For It hooded Taylor, and it was super chill, and I actually forgot to wear my glove because I'm the worst. But I still had so much fun in that. I don't know what I'm gonna be for Nashville. I've tossed around a couple ideas with Haley, and I'm not really sure what we wanna do. The snake print jumpsuit is the one that I wore to Book Expo, so if you saw it there, you'll know what it is. But I'm so excited. Let me know in the comments if you've seen the tour, if you're excited, literally anything you want to talk about Taylor Swift and the Rep Tour, I will talk to you down below. And let me know if you want to see more videos about the Rep Tour as the summer goes on. So yes, thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you in our next video. Bye!